When did you get the call to come out of retirement that this might be a possibility for you?
Monday, May 20th. I remember it distinctly because I was shopping with my daughter-in-law. We were at a craft store, and I got a text from the deputy mayor, and I thought, oh, I haven't talked to Tim Burgess for ages. He must want me to speak on a panel or at the Rotary Club.
So you call him back, and what does the conversation go like?
It starts with, don't say no, which is, and because I said, oh, Tim, how are you doing? He goes, now don't say no. And he says, we really need somebody to come in very quickly. We really need to accelerate this process. And because he knows it's going to take time to go through the process of bringing a new person in. But he said, we need somebody to come in and just get things stable, help us get ready for a permanent chief. He goes, I know you don't want to do this. I'm only asking you to do it for 6 months. And, you know, at first, my first thought was, are you out of your mind? Why would I give up my grandkids, having a very comfortable retirement? I was still doing consulting. I wasn't fully retired. But what really hit me was, I've been writing articles, I've been giving interviews about law enforcement leaders need to step up and stop complaining about what we can't do and start leading and inspiring our frontline officers, because they're feeling really down with all the bad publicity that's happened. And so I thought, you know, I gotta quit being on the sidelines preaching. I need to do it. Yeah, yeah. And I guess I haven't really been sitting on the sidelines. I have been calling on other law enforcement leaders to step up and lead and inspire their frontline officers who are feeling, you know, like nobody supports them. And so I've got to, you know, put up or shut up.
You did say at that press conference that you were uncomfortable sitting on the sidelines. So what was it that said, okay, this is the time to come off the sidelines?
Yeah.
What was the problem as it was described to you?
The problem was already obvious to me. It was clear that there was some turmoil in the police department. But bigger than that, you could tell that officers are not feeling supported. They're feeling like the community doesn't support them. And Seattle Police has a lot of great people. And it just hurts my heart because I love the profession of policing. And I know the people in policing, for the most part, are trying to do good things. And it's very hard to watch the lack of support that they're feeling. I know that there is support out there. It's just we don't see it and hear it very much. And I want the frontline officers to be in a position where they can feel and see the support they have. And I want to help rally them to inspire support. I used to tell my recruits at the academy, the community wants to love you. Let them know you. But it's hard. You know, it's hard when you hear awful news stories. We've seen terrible examples of misconduct. So I understand why the situation is the way it is. But somebody's got to step up and say, come on.
Let's talk about the culture, because the mayor described what some could say is a broken culture within the police department. Right. How are you going to turn that around?
Well, the culture in Seattle Police Department, in my opinion, is typical of a police culture writ large. Obviously, there's some variations, but culture is the result of how people trust each other inside the organization. How they trust each other inside of the organization will be reflected in the way they behave and act out in the community. I believe that we need to work very hard to rebuild trust internally first. And there's some turmoil right now. Let's be honest. There's been a lot of allegations going back and forth, and that is not surprising because there's so much turmoil. My goal is to settle that turmoil down, get people back focused on the work, and get focused on what are we doing for the community. I've been in this profession a long time. Cops who are busy, working hard, that's what they want to do. They want to get the job done. They don't want to be fussing and fretting about who's accusing who.
When you're talking about turmoil, part of the culture, according to the lawsuits,
yes.
Sexism, discrimination, harassment,
right.
retaliation.
Right.
Where will you focus first? Because that's part of the culture.
But I also think that those allegations are symptoms of the turmoil. My challenge is going to be to sort through which allegations are valid, which allegations are the result of turmoil. I have to take a deep dive and understand what's going on. So I've been here a day and a half, and we've already been able to work through some allegations that have been swirling around, causing a lot of disruption. And we're starting to get things back settled into place and get people back focused on doing the work.
So how do you make a cultural change if you are not making changes within the command staff?
Well, to make a cultural change, again, I have to build trust, and people have to know what to expect. Making allegations and taking action without due process does not change the culture. That makes it worse. What I want to restore to the culture is we're fair, we hold people accountable, but we're fair about it. We follow due process. And we give people the opportunity to explain. If there's a misunderstanding that becomes an allegation, we need to resolve that. I'm not going to ignore things. I'm also not going to light the fire under something that is a rumor that's been repeated 3 times. We have to get back to what are the facts, what's really going on, what is an action, what is a symptom. And you know, I'm just getting started on that now. But I will tell you, yesterday was a great day. I was expecting to step in and find a lot of turmoil. And when I came into our very first staff meeting, what I saw was a table full of people that clearly like working together. They were supportive, they were excited, they were apprehensive for the first few minutes. It's like, what's she going to do? But it didn't take more than a few minutes for me to watch the body language around the table, listen to the way they talk to each other. This is a team that is waiting to get to work. And so I told them, buckle up, I've only got 6 months. These are going to be some long days.
What I noticed about the picture that was attached to your internal email was that there were no people of color in that picture.
There was one person of color at the table. Maybe he wasn't in the picture.
It didn't, in fairness, show the entire table.
It didn't show that,
but I know you're
Joyce,
focused on diversity.
That's a fair question, Joyce. And bringing Ty Davis back, that will bring another perspective to the table that wasn't there yesterday morning. Diversity is important. And again, that's something that I'm trying to dive into and figure out, are we doing everything we can? When I look at the bigger staff up here on the 8th floor, there's a lot of diversity. It's just not really apparent. And I'm not going to try and create a picture just because it shows diversity. I want to give real opportunity to create diversity and bring those perspectives to the table, because we need that.
Let's talk about recruitment.
Yes.
Since 2019, the Seattle Police Department has seen its staff diminish every single year since. The lowest numbers we've seen in 30 years currently. So how do you turn that around?
Well, we do more than one thing, that's for sure. The thing that I'm going to do that may be a little bit different is really focus on the systems that are in place that may be acting as barriers. When you're trying to bring people into, particularly into a police department, because there's such a thorough screening process, you want the largest pool of candidates you can get. And so my focus is on opening the spigot and having the biggest pool of candidates we can have. Because not only does that speed up hiring, that improves diversity. The bigger your pool, the better chances that you're going to have a larger group, a constellation of people to pick from. So I've already started conversations with everybody in the city that's involved in the process of screening and hiring. And we're going to look for every opportunity we can to open that spigot up and get more people in the door. That's the first most important problem to do, because if we don't fix that, we're only going to get marginal results at the other end of the hiring. We're going to be looking at our FTO program. You know, are we doing everything we can to ensure that good candidates are able to be trained to do the job, and make sure that we're not putting artificial barriers in place? So again, I'm just getting started on this, but I see opportunities that we can make some meaningful tweaks that might get big results.
Do you think that people with so much turmoil have lost faith in the Seattle Police Department?
Are you talking about people internally?
Externally.
Externally.
We know that more than anything else, people in the city care about public safety.
Absolutely.
At home, in their neighborhoods, in their
Absolutely.
community. So should they have confidence in the Seattle Police Department with all the turmoil, with the exodus of officers over the last many years, that they're safe?
So I'm telling you, my experience yesterday working with this team, absolutely they should have confidence. There is so much talent and so much good work going on in this department that the public doesn't see because there's a lot of the machine behind the scenes. Seattle Police Department has incredible tools, and they have people that really want to deliver good police work. We need to do a more effective job of getting our story out to the community and partnering, finding more meaningful ways to bring the community in so they can see what we're doing. And next week I'm going to be very busy, I need to get to all of my different community groups and talk to them about, here's what we're doing, what do you need? What would be meaningful to you as a community member? What can we do together? Because every community is different, and I really have to, I get frustrated sometimes when people talk about the community. There's 100 different communities, and don't quote me on the number, but there's a lot of different communities, and what they need is somewhat different. And we need to have our policing focused on what does this community need, how do we ask them what they need, and how do we work on it together. We cannot be this occupying force coming in from outside. You don't create public safety by doing that. People obey the law because they want to be part of their community group. So you can't have some outsider come in and inspire people to follow the law.
Let me ask you this. How do you convince people in all of the many communities that we have
that
officers want to serve, want to be in their neighborhoods, and want to keep them safe, when the perception for many is that officers are leaving the department and don't want to be part of SPD?
I think we need to make sure that the officers are making meaningful contact in the field. I can't change the perception, particularly of national media stories that are awful, let's be honest.
The local stories about the Seattle Police Department aren't great.
I know. Right now we are in this time of turmoil, and I believe that was one of the reasons the mayor wanted to make some changes so we can get the turmoil is a distraction from the good work that is happening and that we need to push out so people can see what we're doing. We just have to work together more with the community, and that's going to be in-person contacts, one-on-one contacts. There's many different ways that we need to make the connection. You can't build trust without contact, so we really need to work on different ways that will work. We need to ask the community, what is meaningful to you? What do you want to see from us? There are many communities in Seattle that are very satisfied with the policing. Not every community is. We have to figure out what do we need to do differently that is meaningful in different communities.
I want to circle back to the news conference yesterday because I think for some people it was confusing to see the mayor remove Adrian Diaz as chief, then reassign him to special projects. Is that a job that existed before yesterday?
I don't know, Jason. I don't know. I haven't had that conversation about how we're going to utilize the skills and abilities that the chief has.
Do you know if he's still being paid a chief's salary?
I don't. I assume that he is, but I don't know.
Do you have any feelings on that?
You know, right now I just want to try and stay focused on what my job is. It's an awkward situation. It really is, and I think the mayor was doing an honorable thing by trying to make a transition with as little drama as possible. The chief served a lot of years in Seattle. He has a lot of support in the community. So we clearly needed to find a different fit.
And I think finally, coming out of retirement's a pretty big deal. You have spent years, decades in public service. In
45 years, a long time.
As the sheriff running the Seattle Police Academy, now coming out to really make a difference in this department.
Yes.
What's at the top of that list?
My top priority now?
Top priority of what you want to accomplish. That you aren't going to leave this job and this role until you've accomplished what?
I am going to improve staffing. I am going to make sure that we've got the system working as smoothly and streamlined as possible so we have a flow of people coming in. We can't do the job the best way we're capable of without enough bodies. You know, people talk about fancy strategies. That's great, but you have to have bodies out on the street. And if the public wants to be able to call 911 and get a response from a police officer, we need to put more bodies out on the street. So that's the top priority because public safety is our mission. We can't do the best public safety possible until we have enough bodies to do it.
And the search for a permanent chief.
Yes.
Yesterday, there was some estimation it could be months. I heard one person say, you're going to be in this job for at least a year as the interim. Tell us what the search is going to look like and your involvement in that. How long do you think it might take to get a new permanent chief in place?
So my involvement really is to tap my network. I do a lot of stuff around the country. I know a lot of police chiefs. Kathy O'Toole is heading that project. And honestly, Joyce, the way you find good people is Kathy and I both know some really good people. And what we need to do is let them know what a great place this is to work. We know there's been a lot of turmoil in Seattle. And it's going to take a courageous chief to step into a department that has had some issues. My job in the next 6 months is to make this an attractive place for a great chief. And I can tell you, based on my experience yesterday, if I can just get some of those candidates in the door, if they can see the people and what they're doing here, they're going to want the job. I'm telling you, if I was 10 years younger, I might give it a shot. But
I don't think you're too old to give it a shot.
I've got a couple of grandkids that I would rather spend my time with them.
But keeping it real, 6 months is a little optimistic. Don't you think you could potentially be in this role for longer than 6 months?
Not much. Not much longer. I really believe, I think Kathy and I have a good enough network. I think we can find some great candidates.
But you won't rule it out. It might take a year.
I'm not going to be here for a year. I might stretch it a little bit, but not a year.
What do you want people of Seattle to know about you, about your role, about this job, about your commitment here? What do you want the people of the city to know?
I want the people to know my experience a day and a half into the job has literally blown my mind. I am seeing so much potential, so much hope, so much talent. I thought this was going to be really hard. It's going to be a lot of work, but my God, it's been fun. And I went home 10 o'clock last night, energized. I thought, this is good. This is actually going to be fun. So I want the next chief. I want the next chief to know, I'm telling you, we've got cutting edge technology. We've got incredible programs. The community services connections we've made blew my socks off. This is a great place to work.